BE Run Project Food Project. I'm your host, Laura Lucas. Join me each week for recipes, tips, and guidance to help you cook for the miles ahead. Welcome back, BE Run Project, to the Food Project. We're glad to have you tuned in for our second episode. Now that spring is here, we thought that we would try a dish that was very light and springy, but also had all the benefits that you would need to start ramping up your training again. And tonight we are enjoying a really great Taste of Belgium beer that Rick brought home the other night. What is it, Rick?
Mongoza Mango.
It's delicious.
Tastes like spring.
Would you like some? This is a great opportunity for you at home to go and grab yourself a beer because obviously Rick is going to be participating, so everyone's going to need a drink.
Wow.
What we're going to be making here is going to be a white bean asparagus rice bowl with almonds and a lemon vinaigrette. So it's vegan, so everybody can enjoy. But if you did want to add an extra bit of protein, you could always saute some chicken or grill some chicken and toss it in. But we're not going to do that tonight. So first we're going to just start with boiling some water. We're going to do 1 cup of rice and 2 cups of water. Whenever I make a rice bowl, I tend to like to add a little bit of bouillon to the water when I'm boiling the rice. It gives it an extra bit of flavor so it's not so flat. So I'm going to throw in, because this is vegan, a veggie bouillon cube, and just bring that to a boil. What's really great, and we mentioned this last time on the other, on our first episode, but by combining a grain like rice, which we're doing today, and a protein legume like the white beans, you actually create a complete protein, which is necessary for all of the things that we need for running. And we mentioned a complete protein before, but we didn't really describe what it is. So why do we need complete proteins? A complete protein is going to be a protein that has all of the amino acids in it that your body can't make. There are 9 of them. And since you can't make them or manufacture them, you have to consume them by eating them. And so that's how we get that. And their amino acids are important because amino acids are actually the building blocks of muscles. And when you're doing workouts and long runs, you're breaking down those muscles and you need to build them back up. And how do you build them back up? Those building blocks, amino acids, which come from our proteins. So by putting together the beans and the white rice, we're getting our complete protein.
Mightn't you list the 9 amino acids?
No, but we'll put them on the screen right here.
Amino acid.
Viewers. Thanks, Rick.
I'm funny.
You're funny.
Okay.
Next, we're going to cut up all of our asparagus, and asparagus is one of my favorite vegetables to cook with, and we chose it for this episode specifically because it's actually best in spring. It's in season right now. You can see how all of these are pretty thin stalks. They're not really thick like if you get it in the winter. And so what you want to do is take the asparagus by the end and just kind of break it, and the ends that are kind of more thick and fibrous will just bust off there. Bring all of those off.
Look at the strength. Look at the power.
I've been doing my strength workouts twice a week.
I've never seen anyone break asparagus with such brutality and vigor.
Yes. And we're going to add this to our pre-cut asparagus.
Now, something to note here as Laura is preparing the asparagus is make sure that you cook it long enough so that the ends cook and are not crunchy when you consume them.
We just took the ends off, Rick.
But still.
So we're actually going to grab our olive oil here, and our asparagus. Another great thing about asparagus for your running is it's full of vitamin K. And vitamin K is a vitamin that is specifically important for bones, strong bones. You don't want any stress fractures, right? And cartilage. So it strengthens the integrity of cartilage as well, which is really good for running, especially if you're living in a hilly city like Cincinnati.
The other thing that makes asparagus kind of neat is later tonight, after you finish this meal and you wake up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom, you can smell something cool.
I know we're all quarantined, but send help. So as this kind of heats up, you're also going to grab some shallots, and you're going to slice them. You can dice them, you can slice them. I like them to be a little bit longer. It gives for a nice texture, but any way that you like it. The shallots are getting pretty tender, and so now it's time to add in our asparagus and our cauliflower. The cauliflower I get is the frozen riced cauliflower, mainly because I'm too lazy to use a food processor, and it's a lot easier. And I can just store it and grab it whenever I go. So we're going to add this in. And we're going to cook this for about 5 minutes so that this asparagus gets tender. Now, if you remember from our first episode, we suggested making a little bit extra so that you could meal prep and have these either in the freezer or in the refrigerator. If that's the case, I would decrease the time that you are cooking the asparagus so it doesn't get too soggy if you want to reheat it. Now a little bit of salt and pepper.
That's a nice looking pepper grinder.
So fun fact, which I think I shared in the first episode, but if you didn't watch it, I'll share it again. Rick has about 575 pepper grinders.
573.
It's a lot of pepper grinder. So the moral of the story is if you ever need pepper, you can come on over to our house. All right, let's put a cover on that and wait for about 5 minutes. Our asparagus, cauliflower, and white beans and shallots are simmering, and our basmati rice is cooking. So now it's time to create the lemon vinaigrette. This has evolved a little bit, as many of my recipes do. I'll start out finding something online that looks good, and I will always think, oh, there's something better that I can do for it or with it, or there's something that I need more in my training. For example, I'm in a build week, so let's add more protein, or I'm coming up on a really long run, let's add some more complex carbohydrates. So whatever it is, I tend to just throw different things at it. And I would say it's usually turns out really good about 90% of the time. The other 10% of the time it tastes like dog food and Rick has to eat it. And he eats it. And he eats it and smiles and says that it's really good. Because that's what we call obligation in a marriage. So, first, we're going to add in about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. We talked about the benefits of olive oil last time with immunity. Garlic, we also talked about as a anti-inflammatory, so after long runs, of course, or hard workouts, if you have some inflamed muscles or muscle soreness, garlic is really good. And this is a lot of garlic, but I actually like a lot of garlic. So this is probably about 3 tablespoons worth. You can probably cut that down to about 2 tablespoons if you'd like.
Doesn't it also ward off vampires?
Yes, and you know, it's a big problem in Cincinnati, those vampires. Dijon mustard. We have about a 1/4 cup. Add that in. And then the juice of 1 lemon.
Poor lemon.
And we're going to mix that up with our little piggy whisk.
How topical.
Yeah, I found that on purpose.
Is that other lemon over there related to the first lemon? And did it have to watch the pain, the suffering that was the juicing?
It did. It did. That lemon is just for show. It shows that I actually used lemons instead of limes or something. It's really good times over here, folks. It's like this all the time.
Sure is.
Let's try it.
Non-stop fun.
Non-stop fun. Oh, that's fantastic. You want to try it?
I don't. But thank you for offering.
You're going to, and you're going to like it because it's your obligation. All right. So I would also tend to add a little bit of salt and pepper to this. Again, mainly because we have so many pepper grinders and we're never going to use it. But it gives it a little bit of kick. You can also add in some red pepper flakes if you want a little bit of heat. That's always fun as well. Let's see, did that make an improvement? It did. It's good. This will be perfect. We've just divided our rice between the two bowls and spooned on top the asparagus, white bean, and cauliflower mixture, and it is piping hot. So now to top it all off, we'll grab our vinaigrette, give it a little bit of a stir, make sure everything is all mixed up, nothing has settled, and then we can drizzle that over the top.
Reminds me of a wonderful spring rain.
And then we'll top it with some almonds. Again, if you're meal prepping this, I would not add the almonds. I would wait until you take it out of the freezer. They'll absorb all of the moisture and they'll become really soft. And so you'll lose that crunch, which is really, really great with this meal. Put about maybe a tablespoon on each. A little bit scallions on top. And then this wasn't in the original recipe, but like I said, I kind of just make up all of the, oh, I don't know where my spoon went, the ingredients as I go along sometimes. So we're gonna add in some feta cheese on top.
Love feta cheese.
I know, give it a little bit of salty flavor. And there you go. A winning recipe. Welcome back, BE Run Project, to the cooking Start over.
What in the absolute hell?
Welcome back, BE Runners, to the food project. No.
Unbelievable.
What?
Is this below your pay grade?
What do you want me to say, Rick? Welcome back, BE Run Project, to the food project. We're glad to have you back for our second episode. And we also are glad to have you tuning in during our second week of